Let's continue our discussion on the ISO 650 this BIM standard. One of the questions that sometimes the company will ask is that I'm only a small company, do I have to implement this ISO standard? The answer is that the implementation of this standard is regardless of the size of the company. Yeah. Also, the implementation should be looked at as a long-term investment for the benefit of the company because it will improve the processes and the productivity of the company if it is done properly. Okay, so the project stakeholders should be involved in the information management of the entire project and the asset life cycle. That makes more sense, you see. So that hopefully should answer the question. In this ISO 19650 standard, the company either will be the appointing party or the company can be the lead appointed party or the company can be the appointed party. Also, these are the three roles that the company could play, or the company could play different roles through the result of this project life cycle. So for the appointing party is the organization that is leading the project or asset management, which defines the information requirements and is the ultimate receiver of the information. Normally, the clients, or the asset owner will assume the role of the appointing party. The lead appointed party is the company that is going to coordinate the appointed parties regarding the information production and leading information delivery or delivering to the appointing parties. Typically, the contractor or the architects will assume this role of the lead appointed party. The remaining roles will be the appointed parties. So appointed party address all those companies that follow or produce information about the project as a response to the information requirement. This role will be assumed by the subcontractors, the suppliers, the specialists, or the consultants. So the workflow here shows you the relationship between the appointing parties, which most of the time is the owner, to the lead appointed parties, which could be the contractor or the architect, to the appointed parties, which most of the time will be the subcontractors, the specialists, the consultants. There will always be a flow of information exchanges in terms of the information requirements and the information to be delivered between the different parties. Okay, so the key thing to take note is that the BIM maturity level of the companies as well as the people involved in the project is very important. Because if the different parties, say the lead appointed party and the appointed parties, there is a mismatch between the BIM maturity level, then the information do not get exchanged in a very effective manner. Alright, so that requires a progressive investment in time and resources to ensure that the BIM maturity level is consistent, okay, or is at the level where the information can be exchanged in a consistent and effective manner, right? And among other things, the different parties must be committed to work in a collaborative manner in order for the standard impact to be positively infused, okay, to all the different parties. If the ISO standard is used properly by the different parties, okay, that are having capable abilities, it will be able to give benefits to the different parties regardless of the project size and complexity. Okay, the application of the standard acts as a guideline for quality assurance, okay, of the required information produced in BIM. It will establish the responsibility definition for all the parties, okay, and that will clarify who is supposed to produce what and deliver to whom. It will help to complete the project requirements faster as it also can easily dismiss the irrelevant information. It will reduce the risk of insufficient information requirement or the productions. So to stress again, the main stakeholders in the standard are the appointing and the appointed party. The appointing party is the one that defines the information exchange requirement, including the company, the project, asset information requirements. The appointed party could be the lead or it could be the appointed, okay, should be able to produce well-structured information collaboratively, deliver information according to the delivery plan. So to deal with multiple information requirements and information deliveries, the ISO series is necessary, regardless of the size of the project or the size of the organization. Okay. The ISO 1965 series is all about the information management between the appointed party, appointing party, between the different stakeholders and companies. Yeah. So the part 1 and part 2 of this series will describe a sequence of the project, okay, as a project information requirement, called the PIR, to be created in a project information model, the BIM model, for example, okay, or where the information, okay, from the requirement is converted, okay, into a model through the exchange information requirement, or the EIR. The EIR will take into the account, okay, of the different types of information, the structure of the information to be delivered at the different phases along the project life cycle, and how the information shall be exchanged between the different parties. This slide here shows you an example of a EIR for a window by the different phases, okay, along the project life cycle. Yeah. So the window could be, say, a single frame window. And for windows, there's actually different types of information that we may want to talk about, okay, between the different parties the leading appointed parties with the appointed parties, or the appointing parties, so on and so forth. Okay, but during the initial feasibility stage or the conception stage, there is really no need to go into very detailed, okay, information, okay, like warranty whichever product for the particular single phase window. SW could be, for example, the glazing detail, okay, whether is it the 3/4 inch glass, the glass must have a certain reflexibility, so on and so forth. You don't really need that during the initial stage. You probably may want to have some idea of the type of a window, okay, single frame window, okay, the basic dimension, okay, is it what type of glass? You may want to know that. That could be enough. But by the time you go on to the construction phase, where the contractor will need to install the glass, he will need more information than what we have just mentioned. He will need to know, for example, the actual product, or he will need to confirm the actual product. He will need to know the properties, for example, of the glass that is being used. Okay, and by the time you go on to say, for example, the as-built stage, okay, or you probably may want to also put in the warranty. Okay, so the project information model, okay, may not include everything at different phases or at the different stage. It's basically put in enough information for the required party to be able to do the required work downstream. Okay, alright. So having a exchange information requirement basically will allow, okay, or a system where sufficient information is put in or exchanged at the different phases to allow the party to be able to work effectively. So who is the responsible party when we are talking about this standard? Well, this standard applies to all parties involved in the asset life cycle. In each stage, each party may have a different responsibility. Responsibilities are related to the information management, activities to be carried out or documents to be defined or produced. The responsibilities must be clearly defined, okay, in a responsibility matrix to improve the collaborative working and to avoid misunderstanding. It is recommended to define two responsibility matrices. The first one is to represent the activity of each party at different stages. The second one is to establish the responsibility, okay, for information deliverables. This is an example of a responsibility matrices, okay, according to the different phase of the project, yeah, for the appointing party, the lead appointing party, and the appointed parties. Like for example, okay, in the assessment and the needs phase, the appointing party will need to define, okay, the delivery milestone, what is the protocol, so and so forth, okay, and the intensity will be a high intensity, whereas the lead appointed party and appointed party may not be in place during this particular phase, okay, yeah. But as we move through the project delivery life cycle, okay, the intensity, okay, of responsibility of the appointed party may start to recede, okay, from a high intensity it may actually go down, while the other players that comes in, okay, for example the lead appointed party coming in, okay, during the tender response, if let's say it's a design and build project, okay, which is the lead appointed party will be the main contractor, right, or this responsibility will become higher, okay, or when he start to come into the picture, okay, and he will have consultants, he will have subcontractors, he will have suppliers and all that. They will be the appointed parties, and they will also assume some sense of responsibilities along the project life cycle, okay. So by clearly articulating who is responsible at which stage, at least all the different stakeholders, okay, in a way they have no way to hide, okay, or they have nowhere to hide. They need to then be upfront and be transparent, yeah. So as mentioned, okay, the standard defines two categories, okay, of stakeholders. You can have the appointing party, then after you have the appointed party. Under appointed party, you can have a lead appointed party and a lot of the other appointed parties. So to be compliant to this standard, as an appointing party, they should describe the information needs, okay, establish the project's common data environment, and receive the information. To be compliant with this standard, as the appointed party, they should have a BIM execution plan ready. They should include the information management documents, and they should produce and deliver the information.